All right, church. So typically when I'm up here, I usually have like some kind of fun, um, you know, I'm looking for the word, kind of like a fun, laid back type of sermon. My last sermon at the start of the staycation series was The Fast and the Faithful. But, church, it's been brought to my attention that there is a lot of stuff happening, and it's happening within the church. So, I want to go ahead and I want to give you my title first. And the reason I want to do that is because there's really no good point at any time for me to give you the title other than at the very beginning. And it'll give you give you a little context clues as to what we'll be speaking on today. So my title is When Words Wound the Church. When words wound the church. Gossip has become a problem within the church. Church leaders are even getting involved. Now, church, I am going to stop here and say it's not greater impact. But church leaders are getting involved. This is not what we as a church need right now. This is not what the world needs right now. We are supposed to be in the habit of lifting people up, not breaking them down. And gossip does just that. Gossip brings people down. And you may ask, well, how is that possible? Have you ever heard a rumor about yourself that wasn't true? Imagine that happening, but within the church. Imagine a trusted confidant going around repeating these rumors, spreading this gossip. Imagine having to step back from something that you love with all your heart because you don't feel seen, heard, or safe. Church, there are so many things that have been happening. And unfortunately, it's hit a little close to home, as I will explain in a little while. But as a church, we need to remember, A, we're not here to judge. B, we're here to listen. And C, we are here to support and lift up. My first Bible verse is going to be in the book of Proverbs, the book of wisdom. We're going to be in Proverbs chapter 18, verse 8. Again, we are going to be in the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 8. And the book of wisdom reads, "The words of a gossip are like choice morsels. They go down to the innermost parts." So, church, what this is saying is, think about your favorite dessert, okay? For me, it's chocolate. Anything chocolate. Gossip is like chocolate, okay? We're going to use this analogy. Gossip is like chocolate, and it tastes so good going down. But there's something that we tend to forget. While we're enjoying the morsel that is going down, there's someone who is not. There is someone who is suffering because of this. So, church, let me ask you, why do people tend to gossip? I mean, you think about it, some people tend to gossip to be in the in crowd, to be that it person. But why does the church gossip? To try to make themselves look better? To try to make somebody else look bad? Why? Why is it so easy to do? Better question, why is it so hard to believe the truth? Why do we find it so easy to believe the worst instead of the best? And what I mean by that is, why would we believe what one person is saying and not the other? And we have to remember that there are two sides to every story. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, well, there's three sides. How are there three sides if it involves two people? That third side is going to be the side that's more than likely gossiping, spreading the rumors, not listening to both sides of the story. They're the ones that are making things worse. And what do you do when a church leader is the one doing that? What do you do when that person doesn't want to listen to your side, but listens to the other person's side? My first point is, do you instill confidence? Do you instill confidence? Do me a favor. Flip over a couple chapters to Proverbs chapter 11, verse 13. Again, that's Proverbs chapter 11, verse 13. And it reads, a gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy person keeps a secret. So we're not so much talking about secret keeping as we are believing the truth. Yes, if somebody confides in you in secret, yes, you hold that secret. But why? Just why? Why would you want to break that confidence? Because one of the things, especially with church leaders, is we're supposed to be able to instill confidence in our congregation. We're supposed to be able to instill confidence in our staff. We're supposed to instill confidence in the community that we serve. But we can't do that if we're spreading rumors and gossip. So I told you that this hits a little close to home to me. So I'm going to give you the story. Of course, I'm not going to mention any names or anything. But I have a friend from another church. She is amazing. She has the most beautiful voice I've ever heard. She's on the worship team. Amazing. Love her to death. And she had slander brought against her. This individual had sought out my friend for help not long ago. And because the type of help that they sought, she was familiar with. And when it comes to mental health, is a real struggle in today's world. And so she wanted to be that friend, that confidant. And yes, my friend is married. And yes, her husband was very aware of these conversations because this other individual was a male. Then things started to spiral out of control. He started stalking her. He started spreading lies, saying that they had had sex in a hotel in the back of her car, like all of this. And at the time that he said that this happened, she has proof that the last time she spoke to him was days earlier, nowhere near that time. So when she approached a leader of her church, they basically said, well, why don't you just go ahead and confess what you did? Why don't you just admit what you had done? Because apparently the guy had already gotten to this leader, and they were believing the leader. The leader was believing the man and not the woman. This leader went so far as to tell her friends that when they spoke to her, they needed to convince her to sign a release form so he could get information. So first off, church, this is a church leader, not the police, not a lawyer. Really? Why are we doing all this? So it got so bad that this anointed woman of God left that church, feeling heartbroken as her family remained there because her children loved the children's ministry. Her husband served in the children's ministry. And mind you, the children's ministry, there was nothing amiss there. But this church leader, someone that she looked up to, someone that she trusted, turned their back on her, didn't even listen to her side of the story, pushed her to the side, and told her to just admit what she had done so everyone could move forward. Now, church, how would you feel if that happened to you? Now, mind you, I gave you a short and condensed version, but how would you feel? Why did leadership feel the need to get that involved? If you're going to get that involved, why are you not sitting here listening to her side of the story? Why are you not listening to her husband, who has been aware of everything since day one? Not one person, last I heard, had checked on how her husband and children were faring in this. Why do we tend to like to listen to only one side of the story? Is it easier to just forget that there's two sides to every story? Is it just easier to ignore what could be the truth? And mind you, this individual did go to the elders or the overseers, whatever you want to call them. They're the same. Every church calls them something different. And basically, they said there was nothing they could do. So that was another slap in the face for her. But why would you accuse someone of doing something that they never did if you never bothered to speak to them? Why, church? What would be your reasoning? There should be no reasoning behind it. There should be no, oh, well, we're going to listen to this person because, they've done X, Y, Z in the past. And we're not going to listen to this person because they've tried to do this. That's not how it works, church. It's not how it works. My second point, who are you? Who are you? Let's turn to the New Testament, to Romans chapter 1, verses 29 to 32. Again, Romans chapter 1, verses 29 to 32. They have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, and depravity. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They are gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They invent ways of doing evil. They disobey their parents. They have no understanding, no fidelity, no love, no mercy. Although they know God's righteous decree that those who do such things deserve death, they not only continue to do these very things, but also approve of those who practice them. Remember, church leaders or church leader is involved. You lead a church. You lead others. You guide others. Why would you be like this? Now, I don't know why this is happening. I don't know why these individuals are following in the footsteps of the people back in this time. But it needs to stop. Even if you're not a church leader, it needs to stop. For someone like myself who has mental health issues, I seek people to confide in. I seek people to spend time with, to take my mind off of things. If I can't trust them, I'm not going to confide in them. Now the question becomes, what makes you want to gossip to begin with? Are you hurt in some way? Are you allowing the enemy to take control? Do you think that gossiping doesn't hurt anything or anyone? How can you stop acting like this? Church, somebody here in the Reading campus, what is the scripture about the power of the tongue? Sharper than a two-edged sword. Okay? As you heard Pastor Allen say. Life and death, sharper than a two-edged sword. Your tongue. Church, you are sitting here and you're spreading this gossip. You're cutting down an individual. You are bringing death to her spiritually, when you are supposed to be bringing life, building her up, building them up. Church, gossip stabs in the heart and wounds very, very deeply. Are you willing to ask for forgiveness for your gossiping? To do that, you have to admit that you were doing said things. Are you ready to admit that you've been wrong? that you've allowed the enemy to come in and warp your mind and your soul and your heart? Are you ready to admit that the enemy is causing you to spread these rumors to make you a gossip? What is one way that people were put to death back in Jesus' day, other than crucifixion? Stoning. Would you want to be stoned to death for spreading a rumor, for gossiping, because it felt good too? Are you willing to die for those words that are coming out of your mouth, even if they're not true? Think about it. There is so much, church, so much that can't, excuse me, that can't stop just because we're in a different time. Now, obviously, for spreading rumors and gossip, you're not going to get stoned. You're not going to be put to death. But you will be put to death in a different way. Any friendship that you had with this person, or this person's family, or this person's friends will die. Maybe some part of you will die along with it, knowing that you have done wrong. But is it worth it? As a church leader, is it worth it to have people leave because of it? Think about it. My last point: build up the church. Build up the church. Now turn to Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through 32. Again, Ephesians chapter 4, 29 through 32. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. And do not grieve the Holy Spirit of God, with whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you. Sorry, I didn't realize it went into chapter 5 a little bit, but that's okay. So, once again, church, as a church, we're not supposed to be tearing anyone down. Church leaders, church elders, church staff should be supporting everyone in their church. Everyone. They also need to remember that they are not above the law. They do not get to just do whatever they want to. Certain things don't need to be exposed to them. And what I mean by that is certain things such as a person's past, unless they're in for some kind of counseling. For example, if someone had tried to hurt themselves or someone else, but they sought help and they're better, but they're in for counseling on, I don't know, just how about not even counseling? They're in a discipleship course. Their self-harm or that of wanting to harm others has nothing to do with the discipleship course. That should not be brought out unless that individual feels that it is relevant to what is being studied. Now, for example, women's ministry is a safe place for all women in and out of the church. They can come in and they can speak about whatever they want to, and all of it is confident. Lord, church, I can't talk. All of it will be held in the highest confidence. If somebody scheduled time with a pastor for pastoral counseling, same thing. It's just like doctor-patient confidentiality. I wouldn't expect my therapist to start telling my things to other people. Now, yes, I would expect my therapist to be communicating with my primary doctor if need be, or my endocrinologist, or my psychiatrist. Like, yes, that is different. That's doctor to doctor. And more than likely, it has something to do with medication. But as church leaders, overseers, elders, church staff, that's not our job. Unless it is something that requires action. And one of the things here that we tell our host is, if you get somebody in private message that is threatening self-harm or to harm others, you are to get a pastor right away. We try to get details of where this individual is located. And then, yes, we do call the authorities to do a wellness check, because we care about everyone. This actually happened about 10 years ago, and I'm the person who took the private prayer. And to this day, this individual is married, has 2 or 3 kids, doing great. They used to check in every once in a while just to tell me how they were doing, but I did my part. I helped them. They found God and got the help that they needed. The only other person who knew at the time about that was Pastor Mike, because he was the lead pastor. And I wasn't a pastor at the time. I was just director of human resources. That tells you how long ago it was. So yeah, I was obligated to inform the pastor of the church. We have to remember to be kind and compassionate. We never know what someone's going through, and we never know how much gossip and rumors break them. We have to remember, church, to listen to both sides of the story. We have to remember that just because one person says something happened doesn't mean it actually did. I could sit here and say, Pastor Allen could sit here and say, oh, well, Pastor Laura's had her coffee. I don't need to worry about asking her. And I can be like, can I have some coffee? No, you had your coffee. So I go to Mike, Alan won't give me coffee. And then Alan would go, she already had her coffee. That'd be Mike going, oh, well, you already had your coffee, which Mike would probably do anyway, because he doesn't think I should have coffee. But anyways, using that, or all of us taking Kevin's coffee away. That should get a response from Kevin, I think. But I'm just saying, like, to look at it in that term, you have to listen to both sides of every story. But most importantly, we have to remember not to gossip. We are a church. We are a church leader. We are a church staff member. We are an overseer. We are an elder. We are a volunteer. We're people that the church look to. And we have to be able to be trusted. We have to be able to be there for them. We have to make them feel our compassion and our kindness. And they have to be confident in doing so. So your next steps, church. First, ask God for forgiveness for the times that you have gossiped. While we have done things in our past, we know that all of us, all that we have to do is ask God for forgiveness, and we are forgiven. Simple as that, church. Simple as that. 2, instill confidence in others. Let others know that they can trust you. Let them know they can come and talk to you without the risk of gossip. 3, build up the church. Do not bring others down within the church, no matter what it is. We are a family, and we are supposed to be supportive of each other. Number 4, lastly, confess and ask for forgiveness from those you have gossiped about. Ask them to forgive you. Let them know how sorry you are and that you have repented and want to start fresh. Be there for each other. Church, like I said, today's message was not one of my usuals. It's very heavy, very hard to talk about because everybody, except for the individual who started all the rumors, I know very well. And it's hard to believe that this happened. And this friend of mine, she's very anointed. And she was crushed down. So, even as just a congregant, don't gossip, church. Be there for the others. And love everyone and build them up.